Thanks for downloading this episode from Teachers Talk Radio. You can find the full schedule and listen back to all our shows at ttradio.org. Enjoy the podcast.
This programme has been brought to you by the Happy Confident Company. Our clinically approved, ready-to-go wellbeing and mental health programme will help your pupils thrive. In only 10 minutes a day, you'll be able to deliver social and emotional learning and wellbeing tools throughout your school. To find out more, visit us at www.happyconfident.com.
It's time for a fresh start to language learning. Pearson EdXL's new student-centred French, German and Spanish 2024 GCSEs cater to the needs of all learners, regardless of their background, ability or reason for studying. Rooted in learned language knowledge, their assessments are transparent and accessible, allowing all students to showcase their language skills. Through inclusive and relatable content, the new Pearson EdXL MFL GCSEs build a shared cultural capital that helps students develop an understanding of and appreciation for the wider world. Find out more at go.pearson.com/MFL GCSE 24.
And good morning, Elizabeth. Lovely to have you with me. Very, very excited to be talking to you. For those who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about you and your teaching journey?
Well, good morning, Jane, and thank you for inviting me. And yes, I'm Elizabeth Evans. My married name is Ciccone. And I started teaching in 1986. I came to Italy to live in 1984. So in 1986, I started, and it was I plucked up the courage and I went up to the town hall and asked them to give me a room where I could do evening classes.
Wow.
And they said yes. So I had a room in the town hall for about 6 years doing evening classes. So that was a great way for me to start. And I had a mentor who was from Edinburgh in Scotland, and she lived in a town nearby, and she gave me advice about books. And I started off with Streamline English. Which absolutely loved that book. At all the levels, I took my students over the years through all those levels. So it was really great. So yeah, my journey started in the town hall in Numana. And then I started being called to go to schools in Ancona, which is the biggest town near us. It's about 25 minutes from here. And I started going in as for conversation classes with the students. And then I started working for a few private language schools in Ancona. Mm-hmm. And so my main one was British Institutes. I was there until 2001. Okay. And then the owner sold up. And at that point, I got my partita IVA at that point. And because by then I had a lot of contacts and I was working with companies. And so the partita IVA was absolutely, necessary at that point.
Yeah, for our listeners, it's a sort of similar thing to a VAT code, which means that you can invoice people, which is nice, but there's a lot of tax behind it, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. I learned that later. It's very difficult. But I had that situation going for about 10 years, I would say, yeah. And then I just worked with a different type of contract with companies and schools for a long time. So, so I finished with the private schools and I was working with lots of companies. I was working with doctors at the main hospital in Ancona. I was working with Carabinieri. I was working with prison guards.
Wow.
Yes. And then I got a 5-year permanent post in a school in Loreto for the Italian Air Force. So it was their foreign language school. So I was there for 5 years, permanent. So, but I was doing obviously other things as well, because the hours there permitted me to do other stuff. So, and the way we worked for like 2 months, and then we had a month of a break. So I'll go back. I had started working for a publisher, a local Italian ELT publisher, in 2001, collaborating with them, working on editing and proofreading. And then they started giving me writing projects to do. So, yeah, that was interesting. So as well as the Air Force School, I was able to work for them. 2005, they started sending me all over Italy to do workshops with teachers. Obviously very subtly, using their material, but also my own ideas and my own stuff. And that was great, because I went everywhere in Italy, and it was just wonderful, and more than once, and I know lots of teachers everywhere, so it's great. North, south, east, west. Even in Sicily, they sent me to Sicily. We didn't make Sardinia. We didn't manage that one. And then of course 2019, those were the last workshops, because, as you know,
COVID hit.
Yeah, COVID hit. But by 2019, I had decided to open a school with my son and daughter. So we opened our school 25th of January 2020, and closed, of course, in March.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Closed. Yeah, semi-closed. And you know, we had quite a lot of enrolled students by then, but they were very hesitant to go online. A few of them wanted to go online. So, and I had been working online with another organization for some years, from like 2013 onwards, more or less. So I had experience online, and so it would have been easy for me, but the people weren't so interested. Then slowly they began to ask and try it out. And then we were very lucky, because we also got contracts with state schools online for the preparation of PET, FIRST and CHI.
Yeah.
My son and I deal with that. So we had quite a lot of courses during the latter part of 2020, 2021, 2022. So that was really good. And that kept us on our feet, let's say. And as well as when we were able to open again, very controlled environment. And yeah, we did the best we could. And so really, this is really like our first year of a business, because, you know, from September 2022, we really noticed a difference. We really started to go, let's say, to go up, as I say, with our clients and work. So yes, it's been a real learning curve, this journey from 2020. Yeah, and that's when you see your strength.
Yeah, what would you say are your strengths?
Yes.
What are your strengths?
Well, we have on some of the doors here, we have little post-its with "Never give up," "Keep smiling," "Never give in." That's the way I've always lived my life, because, you know, it hasn't been easy. We moved to Namana in 1984. We already had our daughter Louise, who was born in Glasgow, which is my home city. Louise was born there. We were married in Glasgow, and we moved here in 84. Louise was 3 years old when we moved here. And our language together, my husband and I, was English, because yes, I met him in Glasgow that I was studying Italian, Spanish. Those were my languages. But our relationship has always been in English.
That's wonderful.
And when we moved to Numana, his first decision was to continue that way because for selfish reasons, really, because he didn't want to lose what he had really worked hard to achieve with his English. So we continued. So I would say my Italian suffered a little because, always at home, always English, outside Italian, but Numana wasn't an easy place to live in for me as an outsider. It's a very small town. It
is very beautiful, though.
It is very beautiful, but it's very small, and especially in 1984, it wasn't as touristic as it is today. Today, it's more open to tourism, but even too much today. But in 1984, it was really difficult because, I was an outsider. I was termed as the foreigner, sometimes the Scot, or Nicola's daughter-in-law, or Andrea's wife. I never had my title,
Yep.
And and it was really hard. And the people weren't so open and friendly. And I'm a very open, bubbly person. So I really tried to make friends, but I couldn't get into their circles. So I gave up, and I just worked on my own situation. And as I say, I asked the town hall to give me that room, and I had kids. I mean, I did evening classes because I had, at that time, I already had 2 children in 86 when I started doing the evening classes. So my husband Andrea was with them in the evenings, and because I was really determined to get my career going, because I'd studied for this and that's what I wanted to do, and I was determined. So we did it, and just moved on from that. But Numana today, I still don't have a lot of friends. The friends I have in Numana are people who don't come from Numana, from Milan or from Naples or from Bologna or from other countries. I'm not the only foreigner now in Numana.
Yeah, no. I'm not in Naples either. There's some.
Yeah, so there are, I mean, Numana is small. It's like 3,000 inhabitants, and in summer 33,000. In summer, so many people now. It's incredible. So it's a very beautiful town, and we live this town really a lot during the autumn, winter, spring. We love it. Summer, it's too busy now with people, too many cars. So
what do you do? Do you go back to Glasgow, or?
I always usually go back to Glasgow in August. So in fact, I'm going up on the 29th of July to my mum. I go often to my mum. I mean, before COVID, I went every 3 months. Since COVID, it's changed, but I've sort of started again. I was there at Christmas. I was there at Easter. I'm going end of July until late in August, and I'll be going at Christmas again. So not too bad. Yeah.
No, definitely a good.
Because unfortunately, I'm an only child, and my mum will be 90 in January, and she never wanted to come to live here. So she didn't want to leave her own home. My dad passed in 1989. They were coming here together for holidays, and after my dad's passing, my mum continued to come here 3 times a year, always Christmas, May, September, because she doesn't like the heat.
That's exactly the same as mine.
Because
May and September.
With having the kids, it was easier for her to come here than us to go there. So she came for many years, but she hasn't travelled here since 2004 because she has mobility issues. And so she's very much at home. She's housebound really now. And so I go as often as I can, and I have some assistance there for her, as much as she will allow, because she is really stubborn, independent, typically Glaswegian, Scottish. She doesn't want interference. It's good because she carries on doing her things, and she's as we say in Glasgow, she's all there up here. Her brain works fine.
Wonderful.
Body not so much, but her brain, yes. So yeah.
Talked about your extensive teaching career, and now you've got your school up and running, but you also do other things, Elizabeth. Could you just tell our listeners a little bit about your work to support teachers and teacher trainers?
Yes, well, I'm actually quite new to mentoring. I mean, well, not really, because over the years I have mentored many teachers unofficially, let's say, but I started mentoring last year with Eve. Mm-hmm. So I've only, this is now I'm on my second stint of mentoring with teachers from Latin America. Mm-hmm. And oh dear, oh gosh, I can't remember.
Caribbean.
Sorry?
Latin America and Caribbean.
And the Caribbean, that's it, yes.
Just for our listeners, we're both working on the same project, so.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Lovely.
My mentee at the moment is from Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, my mentee was from Serbia. And I have to say that there's a very big difference. And so it's been really great because I've had two completely different experiences so far. Last year, the mentee last year needed a bit more support from me. So that was really great to help her to increase her self-confidence and yeah. Instead, this year, the Colombian teacher is way ahead. I mean, I said, you don't need a mentor, but she said, oh, yes, I do. But it's a different situation, but amazing because I have learned so much also from mentoring. So it makes you see, I don't know, I had no one to help me when I was at the beginning. And yeah, I did have one teacher who did give me advice about the books, but that was all really, but I didn't have mentors around me. Maybe when I started working in Ancona, there were more senior people to me, so that was a little bit better. But I really see the importance of helping teachers, who, especially from other realities, from our European reality, they really need support and some encouragement, really.
What would you say the main differences
between Europe
and maybe Latin America, Caribbean?
Yeah. Well, as I say, the Latin American teacher is amazing, and she's very, very active on social media. In particular, I've been looking, and she's very active on Instagram and TikTok. She's very savvy, tech savvy, and she teaches at a university. Last year, the teacher from Serbia taught at primary school, and a lovely, great teacher, but her language level was lower than the girl from Colombia, and much less confident than the Colombian teacher. So she really needed a lot of encouraging. And she's great in what she does and everything. So it was great to work with her.
Obviously, thanks to you, Elizabeth.
And no, she just needed to see her worth and to see what she was capable of doing, because she really was capable of doing lots of things, but she just needed a little encouragement. I love that word, encouragement. So yeah, so there were two different realities. So
But it's
I'm
not
looking
the only thing that you do, is it? You also volunteer for IATEFL.
Yes, I love associations.
Do you find time, and TESOL, how do you find time for all of this?
I just make time. I'm a workaholic, and I'm not very good. I don't sleep as much as I should probably.
Mhm.
But I love teachers associations, and I'm actually with 3 teachers associations because I've been a member of LEND in Italy for many years,
Yeah.
and TESOL Italy for many years, and IATEFL since I think IATEFL since 2010, something like that, or 11. So because I just love the contact, the networking with other teachers, and helping each other. I really like listening to people and getting advice from them as well, and so helping each other, really, it's great. Yes, I love the associations. I'm really working hard to try to get teachers involved again after COVID, because there's been a big drop in membership and in enthusiasm and interest. And a lot of teachers feel that there is a lot to offer online, but the online stuff is very short, little quick fixes, whereas if you're in the association, it's an ongoing
Process.
ongoing process, ongoing assistance and involvement, and everyone learns from everyone else. I really enjoy associations. Yes,
Okay, I've got a few more questions for you, but just at the moment, we're going to go to a quick news break. So we'll be right back with Elizabeth Evans.
Okay.
It's time for a fresh start to language learning. Pearson EdXL's new student-centred French, German and Spanish 2024 GCSEs cater to the needs of all learners, regardless of their background, ability or reason for studying. Rooted in learned language knowledge, their assessments are transparent and accessible, allowing all students to showcase their language skills. Through inclusive and relatable content, the new Pearson EdXL MFL GCSEs build a shared cultural capital that helps students develop an understanding of and appreciation for the wider world. Find out more at go.pearson.com/MFL GCSE 24.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
The BBC reported on the high cost of school uniforms. Whilst this is nothing new, the current cost of living crisis has brought the issue back into focus. The charity, the Children's Society, claims in the report that parents are spending an average of £422 a year on secondary and £287 on primary uniforms. This is despite rules that were meant to lower the cost. The government commented that it was working to ensure uniform costs are reasonable. The BBC reports that some parents have said that they are having to choose between uniforms and holidays because prices have increased. The Children's Society said it had polled 2,000 parents across the UK and found that parents could be paying an average of £75 for coats and bags, an average of £63 for sports clothing, and around £62 for school shoes. Under changes to the Education Act last year, schools in England are meant to be helping cut costs for parents. However, the Children's Society found pupils were still expected to have 3 to 5 branded items as part of uniform. Whilst many schools now offer pre-loved uniform to struggling families, parents and charities continue to say that more must be done. FE Week reports on the new NHS workforce plan, calling it a fantastic opportunity for the FE sector. In an opinion piece by Robert Halfon, the plan is claimed to put apprenticeships and skills training at the heart of the NHS workforce strategy. The FE sector already offers training for apprenticeships in a range of core healthcare roles, such as dental nurse, healthcare support worker and pharmacy technician. But the new plan seeks to broaden the range and routes into working for the NHS. The government has announced £40 million of funding over the next 2 years to help eligible providers expand degree apprenticeships. £48 million of funding is also backing the higher technical qualification in healthcare roles. The BBC features concerns about the number of nurseries closing in England, after more than 400 closed in the last year. The sector is blaming chronic underfunding and rising costs. The National Day Nurseries Association said the data raised serious questions about whether there would be enough places to deliver the government's promised expansion of free childcare. In the year to the end of March, the number of nurseries fell from 27,291 to 26,884, with the overall number of places dropping by 3,512. When childminders were included, the overall number of childcare places fell by 24,521. In March's budget, the Chancellor announced the extension of the current scheme, offering some families in England 33 hours of childcare per week for 3 to 4-year-olds to cover younger children. The change would be phased in from April next year. Nurseries say the amount of government payment does not cover costs, leading to closures for some businesses. A Department of Education spokesperson said that the picture was broadly positive, as the decrease in places was only 2% on last year, although it was recognised that there are some local challenges. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Jo Fox.
This is 2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello, this week I'm going to talk VPN. For those of you thinking, why is Steve talking about an underwear fashion faux pas? A VPN is a virtual private network, and knowing a little bit about them might make you realise you actually need one. What is it? Well, in a nutshell, a VPN changes how internet data is transmitted from a device. It allows the user to be more hidden. I know what you're thinking. I'm no cyber criminal. Why do I want to conceal my data? Well, let's look at 3 things a VPN can do for you. I'm going to use a phone as an example, but all of these can be applied to any device you can put on the internet. Do you use public networks? A public network may be the Wi-Fi on the bus or train, a local coffee shop or fast food restaurant, any connection that isn't your home. Transmitting data on these networks can potentially allow your data to be intercepted by third parties. Having a VPN allows you to encrypt your data from your device rather than depending on the network you're connecting to. So, when surfing the web while enjoying a burger and fries, you can be confident if you're being intercepted, the data will be useless to the interceptor. The next is shopping online. When connecting to an online shop, some stores use your location and unique device ID to target you. If you're returning to look at a product, the likelihood is you're going to buy it. Knowing this, some stores use clever algorithms to increase the price to maximize their profit. With a VPN, you can mask this data so the price you see is the initial price. The third is some streaming services are blocked by internet providers or unavailable from outside of certain countries. If you're using a VPN, you can choose where to set your location to allow you to see the content you wish to stream. I've not looked at individual providers. Some are free, some are paid for. If you're unsure, find a friend who's using one, ask them about it, and use the same one as them to begin with. Then you get free tech support. Make sure you know the terms of service. You don't want the VPN you're using keeping your data, as that would defeat the object in the first place. As always, don't forget to check out the TT Radio Twitter feed. Tell us what you want to know about tech. I'm Steve Woods, and that was 2 Minute Tech.
2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
And we're back with Elizabeth. And just in the break, we were sort of discussing, not only do you do mentoring, volunteering, run your own school, teach, you also examine, and you've been running around your area doing Cambridge exams.
Yes, that's true. I had a very busy, let's say from February to beginning of June. Exams, yes, going to many different towns, near and some quite far.
Exactly. In Naples, we've been seeing exactly the same thing. We've got people, centres needing examiners, and people sort of rushing left, right, and centre. It's been it's quite reassuring, isn't it, when you kind of see that we're going back to normal, we're seeing our students taking exams and being quite successful.
Yes, in fact, I was talking about that the other day. I see a big difference in the students, compared to 10 years ago, for example. The students now, they're much, much better than what they used to be.
Incredible.
Yeah, with PET and FIRST.
There was a session the other day with 40 C1s, and that's just like, where did the students come from? It's really reassuring. I know that you were probably around because we're as old as each other. But when we had Progetto Lingue 2000, that was, we're now talking about 23 years ago.
Absolutely.
There was a huge push to get the level up. And I think it has been quite effective.
Yes, definitely. And maybe also, of course, the students are so tech savvy and they're always online. And okay, a lot of the things they do are not so great, but it has boosted their English level, I'd say. Lots of communicating with gamers in other countries, and
exactly. No, I've met students and it's like, how is it that you speak so well? And it is because they play computer games with other children online. It's quite extraordinary.
Exactly, it's amazing. Yeah, I do see a big difference. Yes, so it's great. I love being an examiner too. And yes, of course, I do lots of preparation courses for the exams as well. Those are just short courses, with state schools. But we're gradually doing more in our school too, for the preparation. So that's good.
So what are your top teaching tools?
Do you mean digital tools?
It could be anything.
Okay. I don't know. If you want to speak about the way I work, I was a big fan of DogMe in the past.
Yep.
And obviously, amazing. And now I work a lot with emergent language. So because a lot of places I go to, they don't have a lot of resources. So, so it's really good to be able to think quickly and work with emergent language. And I love that. And the students love it too. And, we speak about things that they're interested in and they are more motivated. And it's great. I love to see that enthusiasm. So I work a lot with emergent language. Okay, obviously with course books too, but I think emergent language is fantastic, that way of working.
Would that have been you 20 years ago, or would you have just stuck to the course book?
Well, I did use the course book a lot, but I also, because I was a fan of Scott Thornbury and DogMe, and so I was experimenting at that time, especially with working with Carabinieri, and guards, and so I didn't really have specific material for them, so I had to work with emergent language, and to get them to speak, and I had to learn a lot about what they were doing. So that was really great. I love variety. I've always loved variety.
That actually reminds me of many, many years ago in Naples, we used to have something called the contrabbandieri. They would sell illegal cigarettes on the streets. And then at a certain point, they just all disappeared. And we were approached by the Carabinieri to run a course for their staff, because they were then going to Spain and the UK to consult with the local police on how to manage the contraband cigarette sellers, which was like, oh my goodness, what a world we live in.
Amazing. I remember I worked with a chief of police as well, and she was going to Sweden for a special project regarding abuse against women and violence against women, practically. So she she came to me for a period, and I had to learn a lot of stuff regarding that form of criminality and solutions. So it was interesting, and working also with doctors, surgeons. Yeah, I've learned so much over the years, you know, bits and pieces. And regarding tools, digital, nowadays we use a lot WhatsApp with our students. I don't know about you, but with my students, we use it a lot. And of course, that means that you're on call quite a lot. You know, you're available. So, but then available is one of the main key concepts in mentoring and in my world. So, yeah, so
that's a tool, isn't it? It's availability.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Accessibility, really.
Exactly. So it's okay for me. Yeah. And and my student at 7:30 this morning asked me if we can work online, because he'll be away from his company in another town. And I said, of course, no problem. So I'll be working during July, maybe some of August too, online with him. But I do intend to have a break in August.
I think that's important. So just tell me about the people who inspire and influence you.
Well, there have been many over the years. I mean, Scott Thornbury was up there, and Carol Reid was, for me, early on. She was her book, 500 Activities for the Primary Classroom. That was my Bible for a very long time. Also, working with the teachers of primary school, I used that a lot. I really did. So Carol, yes, she's up there. And
I'm a huge fan of Carol. I remember when I did my first ever conference presentation, she came to it and I was like, Carol Reid, no. But she was lovely. She was really supportive and really nice. Yeah.
Another person was Mario Rimbolukki, because as being a member of LEND, LEND had a conference every 2 years in a beautiful spot called Porto Novo, which is near Numana, between Numana and Ancona, on the beautiful Riviera del Conero. Beautiful. And Mario came there often because this was organised by LEND. They were very much in touch with pilgrims. So Mario came, it was every 2 years, that conference, and Mario came a lot in the past to that. And so he's another one who's high up there on my list. And nowadays, Alex Popovsky. Yes. Alex is, yes.
She's an inspiration to us all, isn't she?
She's wonderful, absolutely wonderful, Alex. She's up there too, yeah.
Yep.
And so there are so many really, but that I admire and get inspiration from. Yep, great.
But having done all of the things that you've done, do you have future goals? What's the plan for you?
Yeah, well, the plan is to keep going and keep on doing what I'm doing, and just to help my son and daughter to evolve in their teaching careers. Laura is 38 and Nico is 35. So, and they've been teaching now for maybe 10 to 12 years each of them. So obviously when we opened the school, it was a whole new adventure for them as well. And I want to always encourage them.
Are they enjoying it?
Yes, there have been really difficult moments, I have to say, during those 2 years, because, very difficult. But difficult for me too, but I always, as I say, I keep smiling and I find solutions, and I try to pass that on to them and help them just to keep going, even in difficult times. You just have to keep going. Yeah. So I want to really help them to keep the school going. And I don't think I'll ever retire, because Because I can't really see that happening, especially with the situation in Italy, etc. But
Mentioned at 75 or something like that.
yeah, but I love what I do. I'm very enthusiastic still about what I do, and so that's great. And I keep going on trying to help others. And
Do you have a favorite quote? Do you have something that defines you?
well, there are actually two. One which I've had all my life, which is hold fast. It's the motto of the clan MacLeod. My mum is a MacLeod, so I'm 50% MacLeod.
Mm-hmm.
And hold fast is the motto. And I really felt that when I moved to Numana, I really used that motto a lot because I was struggling, and that really helped me, you know. And so that's been all through my life because of the clan, etc. But one which I really think of a lot is try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud.
Oh, that's lovely.
Maya Angelou. And I have that pinned up on my pin board here. And yeah, and that's what I try to do. I really do. I really try. And I hope it works.
I think it does. And I just think you are such a wonderful person. How about something a bit silly, a fun fact that most people don't know about you?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's silly, but just before COVID, the years leading to COVID, I was a volunteer for the Numana Tarta team. Numana is also known as Città delle Tartarughe, the city of turtles.
Oh,
yeah. So I am, well, we haven't started up again since COVID. We're hoping to, but leading up to COVID, I was one of the Tarta team, the Numana Tarta team. So, and what we did was, okay, I'll explain, there is a hospital in Riccione, turtles in trouble, for sea creatures in trouble.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when the turtles are taken care of, treated, they're better, let's say, they bring them down to Numana, and there is so there's a reception committee there, like I was one of them at that time, and we're hoping to get it up and going again. I don't know when. And the turtles stay for a week in a little bay that is cordoned off for them. And then at the end of that week, each turtle is taken by a boat from Numana, the port of Numana, to a beautiful beach called the Two Sisters Beach. I don't know if you know Le Due Sorelle. They are two sea stacks between Numana and Ancona, and just past Sirolo, really. And they are taken to the Two Sisters Beach, and they are released into the sea again. And it's such a beautiful thing to do, and such a beautiful feeling watching the turtle head directly for the sea, and it's amazing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into that. They are still bringing the turtles, but the Riccione hospital people bring them and they go directly with the boats. So hopefully we'll be getting into our volunteering again, the Tarta team. I hope so. I'm ready for it again. That's just one thing. It's not really silly, but
no, it's not silly. It's lovely.
Yeah,
really.
And I do Tai Chi in winter, during winter months. I love Tai Chi, so that keeps me grounded and keeps me sane. And I like my breathing exercises, and I'm walking on the beach.
Oh, Elizabeth, it has just been so wonderful to speak with you this morning. I mean, we've covered all over the sea, and I wish you a lovely, restful summer, and I hope to have you back again on the program.
Thank you, Jane, and you too. Please have a good, restful summer too.
I will. Thank you very much for coming.
I'll see you around.
Definitely.
Bye.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.